Greetings, everybody. Welcome to TV Skywriter, emanating from Durham, North Carolina. I'm Patricia A. Murray. Basically, TV Skywriter is all about my talking to you, interesting people. If you'd like to be a guest, if you're an entrepreneur, a musician, artist, or super interesting person, just write to me at skywriter@gmail.com. That laughter is from my guest, Yolanda Rabun. Welcome to the show, Miss Rabun. Miss Rabun is a singer and, strangely enough, an attorney.
Why is that strange?
Which comes first, the lawyering or the singing? It just sounds like two completely opposite type things.
Well, I don't think they come first or second to each other. I think that they live amongst each other. Right? I think that they're gifts. They are signs of the gifts that I've been blessed with, and I just use them as much as I can.
Okay. So, as a young person, were you interested in the law while you were learning how to sing, or were you thinking you were going to be a singer first, and then in college discovered the legal business, the law?
So when I was young, I was around a lot of family members who sang. And I love to sing, so I think that I've always had singing in me, but also I was around family members who love to analyze information, research, and do those kinds of, I think, basic skills that goes with lawyering. And then I had family members who love to read, and I love to read. So, even though I was singing at a very young age, I think at a very young age I was also trying to discover life, what is it, why it is, and researching things, and that skill kind of lent itself to becoming a lawyer.
Interesting. So when you were in high school, what were your favorite classes?
When I was in high school, well, I went to a school of the performing arts, so I had half of my day was musical theater. So I had a musical theater class where we learned classical music and really every genre of music that existed.
Right.
So I had to put that in front because I love my musical theater portion of school. And then when I wasn't doing musical theater, I loved math, which is interesting because everything about math has to do with understanding basic principles, but also just discovery. There's a sense of discovery of trying to find an answer. And that's a lot of what we do in the law.
That's really interesting. So in college, were you like a pre-law major, or did you switch majors from what you?
I went to a liberal arts school, so I went to Holy Cross College in Worcester, Massachusetts. The way they taught us, you kind of learn everything. Your hand is in a lot of different things, because really the true meaning of that, I think, education is to understand how to approach a single problem in many different ways. It's perspective.
See, you get that perspective. Do that again. I like that.
Well, I went to, again, a liberal arts school, and I think one of the goals of that type of education is to teach you to look at a single problem but understand the different approaches of how to solve a problem so that you kind of have a perspective, a global perspective of how things can be resolved or solved, which is why it's so interesting for me to watch the news and just look at different things because immediately everyone has a single answer to how to solve something or how something should be done, and I think you have to take a step back and understand all the things that are in play to get to the right answer, so that it's not a quick answer and everybody feels good for a quick, short time, but really a long-term view of how to handle things.
Yeah, because to me, if you're looking at a problem from more than one angle, to me, that sounds like there might be more than one answer.
Exactly. That's exactly right. There was a movie, I believe, that came out a couple of years ago about, it was about perspective. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about a shooting. And they showed you in the beginning of the movie what happened. But then they peeled the movie back and showed you 10 different angles of what was going on. When you saw that, I thought it was beautiful because it actually laid out that who looked like the good guy actually was not the good guy, just a whole different perspective. So again, I think in life, especially for me, being a lawyer, being a performing artist, and so many other things, a mom, a wife, daughter, You know, I have to look at not only my point of view of things, but also others and how they may see things in order for me to kind of feel at peace with myself.
Okay.
Mhm.
So how long have you been a lawyer, and when did you start your music career? Did you do both at the same time, or did you do
Uh,
one
that's a
first?
good question. I've been practicing for 20 years. Um, but I have always been in musical theater. As I said, I was in high school at a
Mhm.
school of the performing arts, and I traveled around the world with a team of beautifully talented folks. Um, and so that obviously came before me becoming a lawyer. But when I was in law school, I sang with a group called Wandering Mistrials. We would, during the holidays, actually go and sing to help relieve stress from the exams and things of the sort that were going on. And, you know, for the most part, I just, I think again, they're kind of intertwined. This recent launch of my career with regard to recording, I've recorded in the past, but I really seriously recorded independently about almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And so that just started. And
How
it's
did
been
you get started with that?
how to say it again?
Yeah, I mean, how did you get started putting out your own music? Because that actually means more than just singing, because somebody has to play the piano and the saxophone, and so how did you put all that together?
Well, I was performing live with a group, a jazz group here in Durham, North Carolina, Stanley Baird group, and I was the lead vocal
Mhm.
for that group. And, you know, after performances, so many people would come up and ask, "Where's your album? Or where's your recording?" And I didn't have any. And it just that moment came when I knew. I think it takes a lot of confidence, but when I knew it was time to memorialize, if you will, that sound and what we were doing,
Mhm.
and that's how it kind of launched off. So the song that we started off with is "So Real," and I'll tell you that this is that first CD we came out with. See it? And
Watch you
I
record some of that. That was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a learning experience. We actually have live recordings on that album from the group I was playing with,
Mhm.
the fellows who were certainly playing, and it was a lot of fun. I wouldn't change it for the world. Great experience.
So where did the music come from? Because that's an original. I mean, somebody wrote it. Did you write it?
I did. I did. I worked with another producer actually here in the North Carolina area named Denver Wright.
Mhm.
Years ago, see, you asked me about recording. Years ago, I actually worked with Denver on what they call like an EPK or an electronic press kit, just getting myself recorded, not for sale or anything of that sort.
Mhm.
And working with him, we sat down and I did a few covers, but I wanted to do something original, and we started playing around, singing, you know, bits and pieces here and there, he at the keyboard, and we came up with So Real. And so when it was time for me, you know, back in 2011, 2012, to really put down on, you know, in a CD format my music, the first thing that came to my mind was So Real. It was like it was a real experience for me back then,
Mhm.
and this new experience of, you know, embarking on a recording career was going to be so real. And that's how I came up with the name of the album and how So Real became my first single. And that
Now,
was a great.
now, "So Real" is a beautiful song. Don't tell me that's the first song you ever wrote.
No, no, no. I actually wrote a song when I was in middle school. I had a project, and I can't remember the details of why we were asked to do something, but I always try and do different. And
Mhm.
so my different was, instead of writing paper or writing a haiku or something original, I wanted to write a song. So my mom connected me with a gentleman she knew, and we sat and wrote a song. And I sang it, and I'm pretty sure no one remembers it. But I started singing it to my mother like maybe a week or so ago, and she was like, "You remember that?" And I said, "Yeah, it was my first." And so a lot of fun.
Do you still have it somewhere on cassette?
I can't find it, but I know how to sing it. So one day, it'll come out. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So your first CD, I do remember watching, like I said, watching you record that, parts of it anyway. And how did you market it? I mean, how did you get it out into the world?
I did a lot of Facebooking with regard to it. So I used a lot of social media, with Twitter and with Facebook. But I also had a lot of live concerts. And that was one of the ways that we were able to get the word out about So Real, which is really great because it was the fans who would hear the music or hear me singing live and tell more people about it, and the word started getting out more and more that not only is this album, you know, good, but this woman can sing and we should listen to her. I remember doing one of the shows in Charlotte, and a gentleman came up to me afterwards and he said, "Thank you for sounding like your CD." I thought that was hilarious.
Don't sound like their CDs? I mean, I wouldn't know. Don't they?
Well, I think what it is a lot of today's music is very, I'm trying to politely say it, it is very tinkered with in the studio, right?
Auto-tune. Right, auto-tune.
Right. Yeah. Auto-tune and or just other special things I think you can do to make a sound, you know, radio ready or perfect. If you remember back in the old days when they did music, it was live and whatever it was, you know. Yeah. So when we recorded So Real, I just, you know, again, everything on it is very authentic, even to the point of if there's a skip in the beat, whatever it was is what we caught. And I liked that experience. I hadn't thought about it being as important until I've seen, you know, in recent times, you have some of these legacy or legendary singers performing live or not performing very well live. And as a result of, you know, fans, they're no joke. Fans will tell you they want you to sound exactly like your CD. And, so, say that again?
You mean note for note?
Oh, yeah. I have gone to concerts and watching other people perform, and the singer would sing a song completely different from the way it was recorded, and the people around me were completely upset. They wanted to hear it exactly how they had learned it, how they knew it, because that's what they wanted. That's a struggle, because for an artist, sometimes, even though you've recorded a song a certain way, you want to go live and give, you know, an experience that's real to the moment that you're in.
Yeah,
and so
I grew up with so to me that's ridiculous to sound like the record song.
Well, you know, I won't tell you that every single performance I have I sound exactly like my record, because I do think I like to take risk. But I think that experience that I had with the gentleman when I first came out was So Real was, you know, I was a new artist, a very new artist. No one knew me. Or people were still getting to learn me, as the case is today. And the test was, if I hit this extremely high note, will I do it again? Can I do it again? Or if I do a certain riff, was that all automated? Or just a one-time fluke that they caught on tape? So I think that was what it was more about than anything else.
Okay.
So but we're human.
Of course.
Yeah.
And since you recorded your first CD, well, I'd like to know if you got airplay as well before I go on to the next CD. Did you get a lot of airplay?
Do I get live airplay?
Yeah. Did you get airplay with your first CD on the radio?
Thank you for asking that. I did. We were very blessed. Not only did I get played in the local area of North Carolina, but I've been played all around the world, all around the states. A lot of smooth jazz channels picked up So Real. And I even made one of the charts in the UK, a top 30 chart for my music, yeah. And it was, here again, this is So Real. There were several cuts off of this album that, let's see, to stop shining, that actually got played, which was really, really awesome. So Real being one of them. Even on CD Baby, which is where it's available, I made their charts. I hit #1 on their charts for Soul Single. So it did really well when it came out. And it's still being played today. I still see on Twitter where there are groups of people who are playing a song from So Real. And So Real came out 2011, 2012. someone told me that, you know, a testament of music that is lasting is that you do it, you put your heart into it, and you do the best job you can, do a good job at it, and it will play. And I've been very blessed so far for it to still be out in rotation and continuing to play.
So I'd like to know, how did they hear about your CD in England? Because I know that you said you were giving concerts, but were you in concert in Europe as well?
Good question. I actually was. So when I first came out with So Real, I still was singing with the Stanley Barrett group. Okay. And Stanley was invited to an Armed Forces Entertainment tour in Japan, and also in the Asian Pacific market, but also in the Mediterranean. And so traveling with him, I was really blessed to be able to perform you know, his music, but then also be introduced as Yolanda Rabun, the artist, to a whole new, wonderful, beautiful set of people across seas. And some of those friends, some of those people, some of those soldiers, if you're not sure what Armed Forces Entertainment is, it's basically a group that helps to bring entertainment to the troops. So I'm singing for the troops over in Turkey, you know, and Spain. But some of these guys that I've met who love the music are still following me. I just performed 2 days ago at a beautiful function charity event for Embrace Uganda. So I can talk about my community service work as well. But one of those guys was actually in town, and I was just really blessed to have him as a guest to come and share and hear me sing again. But I think all of that's to say that I have major wonderful friendships that I've kind of been able to create from traveling across the world, but also primarily because of my music, and that's kind of cool.
That must be really cool.
It is. Very blessed. Very, very, very blessed.
Wow. I once heard that Dizzy Gillespie, the jazz trumpet master, was traveling on tour in the Middle East, and they actually stopped a war for him. So people on both sides were listening to him in concerts, and when he left, they resumed fighting. How about that?
That's amazing. That's what's up. That's music. Now look, you know what that is? That's the power of music. And Dizzy Gillespie jazz, I mean, the beautiful thing about jazz is it's very interpretive. It is what the moment is. So I can only imagine what he brought to that moment, you know, in the midst of chaos, to bring that serenity through music. So I like to think that, you know, the music that I'm performing and singing and recording has some effect to move individuals to either, you know, be inspired to do something, or just be at peace with themselves in general.
That's really nice. Now, you followed up your first CD with was your Christmas CD the next one?
It was. It's my Christmas album.
Who took your
called Christmas Time? Thank you, thank you. I met this wonderful woman, I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, far before I was singing with the Stanley Barrett group, or even performing in general. And I saw a picture she had taken, and it was amazing. So when I was getting ready for my So Real album, it was really, you know, it was almost no question about what was going to be a part of as far as my pictures were concerned of the album. Now the cover I'll show you was done by a gentleman named Curtis Brown. And I mention that because when I took this picture, we were shooting, I'm in theater as well, we were shooting headshots for theater.
Okay.
And after that shoot was over, we decided just to take fun shots. And I was all for it. He was like, put on your favorite outfit. We're just going to go over here and sit and take a picture. And after he took that first picture, I'm telling you, it was like, that's your album cover. And that was really, it was before I didn't even know any songs that were going to be on the album. I just knew.
You had the cover.
Yes, I knew it was the cover. And so he shot the front. She shot the picture in the back.
Okay.
And then she shot this front and this back. And her name is Maritza Campbell. She's with Maritza Photography. And I've worked with a number of photographers, so I don't only work with Maritza. I work with several others As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you this. This is Maritza's work as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. Very beautiful.
But I've done a lot of live performances, and I have other photographers who've worked with me, and it's just been a blessing. I just loved her eye. Her work on still photography is absolutely amazing, as well as live performance.
Okay. Now, when it comes to performing music, does your lawyering come into play at all? In other words, do you think that you analyze music differently or approach it any differently because of your more mathematical, legal type mind?
I think, I don't know if I've thought of it in that sense, but I'll tell you what I do. Every song that I sing has to have a meaning, right? I have to connect myself to the lyrics and the story behind the song. Because if I don't, I'm not able, I think, to really give the song justice or to deliver the song. So when I look back at certain performances that just did not work or didn't go well, it was partly because I didn't know the song. So I couldn't give the song, you know. Music, I think we have some responsibility in it that we have to be able to do it justice, not just because I sang it pretty, you know, or I hit every single note exactly how it's supposed to be, but there's a meaning behind it. There's life behind, I think, music in general, songs, melodies, and so from that perspective, I'm probably analyzing, you know. I'm thinking, why did she say those words? And why did this first verse happen before the second verse? You know, why does the chorus keep repeating itself? What is that message? And if that's the message, how does that affect the first verse versus the second verse? It's probably way too much thinking.
No, that's good. Yeah. Because when you embrace a song, people think it's coming from you. They don't know that somebody else wrote it, in case you are singing a song somebody else wrote.
No, I think that's right, because I recorded on my first album, Say My Name, a very popular song from Destiny's Child. And if you look at when they first performed that song, it was done, you know, I like to say by teeny boppers, asking, you know, some young fella to say her name. And so it was given in that kind of guise. And when I performed it, I looked at it from the perspective of an older woman who may have been fully involved with children and just, you know, an investment in the relationship. And she had come upon the situation where the man she's in love with, you know, has the audacity not to be responsive to her. And so her request to say my name is going to sound much different than a teeny bopper asking.
It's deeper, isn't it?
Right. To say it.
But that means then, if you come across a song that you really love, like suppose you're listening to like some jazz or whatever, you hear an instrumental that's really got a beautiful melody, that means that if the lyrics aren't right, then you really can't perform that song, right?
That's right. I'll choose not to. That's right. I have been asked before, will you do X? And I said, I love the music, but I can't do that song.
Really? Do they ask for an explanation?
No, but you know what? Most people know me. I know that it sounds really wild when I say that, but most people know I'm not going to sing that song, right? Most people, I like to think when people come and ask me to perform, they know what I've done, and they ask me to sing, you know, something that would warm their hearts or warm the people who they want me to be heard by. Most of I had someone ask me this past year to do a song. I did not know the song, but I knew of the song. And once I heard the song and I knew who asked me to do the song, it was a no-brainer that I could do it. See, a lot of times, I don't think I'm going to have someone ask me to do something foolish. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to think, what was a song I would not do? I'm laughing. There's a song called, gosh, I can't even think of the name of it.
I know some people didn't like Jump to It by Aretha Franklin because they didn't think that a woman should have to jump to it anymore. that she could take her time when.
Yes, but you know what? That's where perspective comes in. Because just because people are thinking jump to it means that, I will find a way for it to mean exactly what the person who's asking for it needs to mean. That's the beautiful thing about song. I used to sing in a group where we would take everyday songs like Natalie Coe's This Will Be. We made it inspirational. Right? Now, when Natalie Coe recorded that song, she was probably talking about, you know, this man and this relationship. And when we got a hold of that song, we were talking about God. This will be an everlasting love. So I think that you do have to take your time and understand that songs are written for the art of it, for the creativity of it, and if done correctly, you can take it to make it mean what you need it to mean. So maybe I'll just correct myself. Earlier I just said I wouldn't sing certain songs. Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Depending on whether you're able to interpret it the way you want to interpret it.
Yes.
And some people actually rewrite songs. I've seen, I mean, I don't know if everybody can do this, but I've seen artists just rewrite the lyrics and, you know, change the meaning of the song completely.
Yeah, and that can happen, and does, and sometimes should. As a matter of fact, there's a beautiful song Gladys Knight does called "Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me."
Love it.
And that has been rewritten and resung in church, saying Jesus is the best thing that ever happened to me. So, you know, people can change songs to make it work for what they need it to work for.
Do you need permission to do that from the artist? I mean, from the songwriter?
For the most part, you do. You know, a song as written is copyrighted, which means that in the state that it is written in, it belongs to the person who wrote it. Okay. And unless you get permission from them to modify it, you know, to a certain extent. Like if you changed a letter, I'm trying to be funny, you changed one single word, there may be an argument, although it still is a modification. So let me be clear for those lawyers out there who are listening to me, it still is a copyright issue if you change one word. But I think some artists may turn their heads for one word. If you ask Prince, if you change, you know, the thought before the word was written, you probably will have a problem, which you should. Your Prince is very serious about his music, as you should be. So
can you perform it with new lyrics, but just not record it with new lyrics to stay on the right side of the law?
Not necessarily, because today performing rights are still the, you know, exclusive ownership of the person who wrote the song. So that's why you have performing rights organizations. When your song is played on a radio, it is subject to, you know, you being able to be paid for that. So I wouldn't tell you performing a song versus recording a song makes any difference. And I will say, for the sake of argument, that the information that I'm providing is not legal advice. I am stating points of information. You certainly, if you are considering doing anything like that, should work with your attorney and make sure that you have proper rights.
Very smart to say that.
Yes, it's very important because, you know, I think I know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, you know, I'm speaking to you in candor because, you know, we're friends, and I do know some things, but I think it's important for you and anyone who may be listening to this to do your research and seek advice and counsel prior to releasing your music and even performing your music. Actually,
I'm not going to mention his name, but I knew a very well-known jazz composer who did change or rather, he added words to some jazz standards that didn't have words before. And he was a big shot. He thought he could record, you know, get permission later. He recorded the songs with the new lyrics, and then came to find out his estate did not, the estate of the musician who wrote the songs,
did not appreciate it.
They didn't go for it. So,
yeah, because what it is even with instrumental pieces, if you add something to it, you are modifying that original art. And under copyright law, again, unless the copyright owner gives you permission to do so, you are arguably subjecting yourself to a lawsuit and or someone stopping you from being share your music, which is really sad. But you know, I always tell folks, ask permission, you know, up front if you can,
Yeah,
as
because
opposed to forgiveness later on.
right,
Forgiveness can
he
be
he
costly.
had to he had to ditch the project after it was recorded. Just kind of assumed that it would be okay, you know, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's too bad. Let's talk about your newer CDs because you said you have a Christmas CD and then you held up
Yeah.
another
So
one. What was
kind of
that?
give you a peek. This is "Hold On to Your Dreams,"
Okay.
and this one is a single actually.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay.
This was how did "Hold On to Your Dreams" come about? I was working with a gentleman. I do a lot of community service, and one of the things I do in North Carolina is called North Carolina Arts in Action. It's working with kids in North Carolina area through this wonderful organization that brings dance and just many different forms of art, whether it's through song or just learning different just ways to communicate with your body
Mhm.
to North Carolina students. They bring me in to sing at their end of year programs. And there's a gentleman who used to be a part of this organization who would specifically write songs for my voice so that it would complement what was going on, which is really kind of cool when you have someone who's like writing for you. His name was or is Alton Tessino, and he had given me just an opportunity to work even further outside of this organization with him in writing. As a matter of fact, he wrote for my Christmas CD. And one of the songs that he wrote, which is called Wishing You a Very Merry Christmas, actually
Mhm.
played overseas and played a lot. A great song. And when I told him, he had given me some things to look at. I told him that I'm dreaming. I'm always a dreamer. And he said, I have an idea for you. And he brought me Hold On to Your Dreams. And I worked with him and my producer, Christopher Evans, and we kind of reworked the song, played around with different things in the song, and as a result came out with the song. So we are all writers on that song. And
Fantastic.
very amazing, beautiful story. I'll tell you, the reason why I came out with a single is because I didn't want to wait for an album. I didn't want to wait for a full project to get this message out. I felt like this was a message that people need to hear and understand, that, you know, in the midst of life and everything that's going on, that
Mhm.
you can still dream. And while your big dream may not be in front of you, you have to learn how to hold on to it.
Mhm.
Hold on to it so that you're ready for it when it does come.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. I haven't heard it yet.
Yes, I know.
You got to get that one to me.
Please.
Also, so I can play it at my gigs when I DJ. I'd love to do
Yes.
that as well. Yeah.
I'll see you soon. I'll be sure you get it.
Okay. Now, tell me about your theatrical escapades. You've been in some theatrical shows. In fact, didn't you have like a big billboard out somewhere?
Oh, that was for music. That was for my music. But
Oh, okay.
theater, I have done, in the last few years, I did a piece called I Love My Hair, which was a lot of fun. And I'm going to see if I can actually share some of it with you. Now that you talk
Okay.
about that, I should have thought about that earlier. Um, but I did Love My Hair with a woman named Shaughnessy Webb. She did a beautiful play and invited me to be in it. And I played two roles. I played the grandmother, and I played the Aunt Brenda role. And I had so much fun, really so
So
much
you
fun
played two roles in one play.
in one play. That's right. So a lot of people, it's an interesting point. A lot of people had different or single parts. I think we all had different roles in that we grew up through our roles. But
Mhm.
in this particular one, I had to age fairly quickly, and it was a lot of fun because there would be moments when I was one character or the other, and when I wasn't supposed to be, and had everyone laughing. But never in
Um,
a live show. Never in a live show. Only in performance. Only in performance mode for our rehearsals.
I got
So,
you. I got you.
yeah.
So you're going to share some pictures?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can pull them up really quickly. I have
Okay.
what I call a theater folder, and And only because I want it right now is it not available to me right now. So, yeah.
So now, I've worked at law firms before as a proofreader, and maybe it was the firms I've worked at different firms where they seemed to be working like day and night. And there was another law firm I worked at, which was kind of strange. At 5 o'clock, they left to go home, but they did more municipal type work, and they were strictly 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, with your, with your being a lawyer, do you ever have to? I mean, does your schedule ever get out of hand, crazy? Do you have to postpone things and put things off and move things around in order to do both your music and your legal work?
So I'm going to answer that in a few ways. My schedule is always crazy. I am no exception to the rule.
That's because you're also a mom.
I'm a mom and a wife. Married 20 years, and I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old.
So you're picking up kids too, driving them around.
Yes. But so I'm no exception to the rule as far as craziness and schedule. But I will say this: I do believe that when you use, and I'm going to repeat this a lot, when you use the gifts that God has given you to live out your purpose, it makes room for all the craziness and things that just doesn't. You don't think it's going to work. How could this happen? It unfolds, and part of that is believing in your path, believing in your purpose, believing you're here for a reason, and fulfilling those gifts through whatever mechanism God gives you to do them in. When you do that, when you actually believe that, everything unfolds exactly the way it's supposed to. I remember having a huge deal that I was working on at work that required me to travel. And it was in the middle of something else that I was doing that required me to travel related to my music. And when I first learned of the requirement to travel at work, there's my instinct was conflict. How is this going to work? And I was immediately reminded that if everything that you're supposed to be doing is in the purpose to which it is planned for your life, it's all going to work out. Don't panic. Be calm. And sure enough, I can't disclose all the details, but I can certainly tell you both of them happened, and both of them were very successful. And I have to attribute that to the fact that everything that I do is a faith walk, right? Some of it, people look at me and say it's impossible. How is that? How are you doing this and that? And I can tell you sometimes I don't even know. I just have to be obedient and walk in the path that I've been asked to walk in. To do the things I do, which is why I take every song personal, every invite, seriously, because I believe that I'm invited to places and I'm in spaces and time, not because I need to be there, because I want to be there, but because there's something much bigger than me going on, much bigger than me. If a person at the end of the evening comes to me, or end of an engagement where I'm speaking, or whatever, comes to me and say, "You touch my heart, I need to hear that right now," or anything to that effect, then it's way bigger than me. Way bigger than me. Wow. The biggest challenge I have is to get out of my way. That's the biggest challenge. Huh?
So how do you know what your true purpose is? Because a lot of people are doing what you're doing. They're working. They got to worry about the kids, and they have the other things on the side. How do you know do most people have more than one purpose? And how do you know what your purpose is supposed to be?
Well, usually, I'm going to be honest, usually it's a single purpose. I think what most people have is, they have different gifts, right? So I think people are blessed with many, many different gifts. You can have more than one purpose, but I think there's usually one general single purpose. I could be wrong on that. This is Yolanda's theory of life. My purpose, I believe, is to connect people with people. If that makes any sense. It's pretty simple.
It does.
Boil it down to the simplicity of what it is, and then you ask yourself, well, how do I do that? What gifts do I have to make that happen? And then by understanding what those gifts are, then you know, oh, that's why I was there that day, you know, or that's why I had to wake up early in the morning to go walk the dog and meet such and such. Do you know what I'm saying? It's those weird things that you ask yourself, why am I here? Or why did I talk to this person that day? All those kinds of things that kind of bring you back to remembering that we are all of us, connected to each other. And that each of us will meet our greatness and reach our greatness by sharing what we have with each other. It's like you may have the lock, but I may have the key. And the only way you're going to know that is if we connect to each other and I give you the key. And I may not even know I have the key to give to you. And that's the deep part. That's exactly why we have to communicate with each other. You have to say hello, and you have to be polite and kind. And when the answer is no, you got to say no, you know, or not now. I was just talking to somebody else about that. It's okay if your path doesn't, you know, allow you to be somewhere. That you don't have to say yes to everything. But again, just allowing yourself to be in the moment can help you see that you really are the key to someone's lock. And the key, you know, it doesn't obviously have to be a physical key, but I'm just talking about it could be the answer to a question, you know, that only you knew how to answer because of knowledge only you had.
And sometimes I find that when you have this gnawing feeling that you should be doing something, that you have to follow it, like last week, something in my head told me to go to Blue Coffee Cafe, and I was like, I'm not hungry. Why would I go to the cafe if I'm not hungry? But I went anyway, and ran into somebody that I was supposed to run into. I could tell by our conversation that's why I went to Blue Coffee, not for breakfast, although I did, you know, I wasn't hungry. I did have a little breakfast. But in lollygagging at Blue Coffee, I was able to meet the person that, yes, I was supposed to run into, and we had the kind of exchange that was very fruitful, that would not have happened otherwise.
And that is exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly. We get these signs, these signals. It could be, someone told me a long time ago they used to wake up at the same time every morning. And I told them in those moments that you wake up, and they said they didn't know why. I said, in those moments that you wake up, pray. Because someone is trying to tell you something. Or just be very attentive and listen. Just be quiet and listen. You know, I'm not expecting any crazy, and I say crazy haphazardly, but, you know, voices or anything to that effect. But your mind will start speaking to you. You will start hearing things and understanding, and things that just didn't, again, appear to be clear will become ever so clear to you. And so that's the beauty of it. That's the real beauty of it.
I have another quick story. A friend of mine told me that her father-in-law, they were taking care of their father-in-law for a while. He had Alzheimer's. And he would always try to sneak out, and they would try to lock everything and try to lock him in his room, just try to keep him from escaping the house and getting out into the night and getting lost, because he was not a native Durhamite. So one night he was very clever, and he got out of the house. He's in his pajamas, and he's walking down the street, and he ends up at the store. This is 5 in the morning, okay? The store owner was amazed because that day something told him to go to work early. He always arrived there at 6.
Right.
But something told him, for some reason, he didn't know why, that he should be at the store an hour early. But the reason why he was there was so that he could rescue this man who had Alzheimer's, walking around lost in his pajamas.
Wow.
He was able to help him. Otherwise, he probably would have ended up in the woods and would have died or something. But again, when you hear these little inner voices, it's good to hear them and then to follow them if you think that's the right thing to do.
That's exactly right. That's
Cool.
exactly right. So the reason why you see me looking away is because I was trying to find pictures of myself in the theater.
Yeah.
See if I can.
You said you had them in a folder when we were doing the test run.
Right. So let me see if I can share.
There you go.
So this is me with a cast of I Love My Hair. And Shaughnessy Webb is the woman who you see on the far right. And she is the person who, wonderfully enough, created this play. And then the other ladies you see were all members of that particular play. And then the woman on the far left is actually cellist Shauna Tucker, who did the music for
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so she was a part of that, and that was pretty cool. And so let me see if I can find something else and see how I can make it change. As you can see, I'm learning.
Oh yeah, no problem. We have time. We have time.
I'll show you. Let's see if I can get this one to show. Hold on. Should be very interesting. So good. I needed to know what I was doing. All right. I'm gonna get this much better. This next one I'm going to show you, I can talk about a little bit. It's related to a show that I did at North Carolina Theater a number of years ago. But the reason why I want to show it to you is because it is from, let's see if it's going to show up big for you. I want it to be big. So you can, I had it big and then I got impatient. Well, 1 second. I want to show it to you because you're going to recognize a few people on it.
Okay.
So I do theater and I love theater, and the nice thing about the theater work that I do is that I get to meet a lot of different people, and I get to I don't know, really hone my talent to the point that I make friends for a long time, and they affect my life as much as I think, you know, I may affect their lives. And I was being a little impatient before, and it was really big, and now I'm just trying to make sure that it shows big like the other one did.
Okay.
And so that's my slowness here. It's not showing as big as it was doing before. Okay, I think I got it now.
Okay, let's see.
So this picture, that's me second to the right.
Okay, yeah.
This is from a show called Ragtime, and we did it at North Carolina Theater, and it's really amazing given the times that we're in today with all of the issues, the black and white issues, and the police, because a lot of this show, especially near the end of it, has to do with this confrontation with the police by these black people who were part of the play. But if you look very closely to the right of me, for those who are in theater, is Montego Glover. She was the woman who was up for the Tony Award for her role in Memphis.
Awesome.
And then if you look at the gentleman in the very front, if you look very careful, that's actually Norm Lewis. And he was the one who made history by being the first black Phantom of the Opera on Broadway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Norm also was on Scandal. He played the senator who was one of Olivia's pursuits to the point that he even wanted to marry her, and she turned him down.
I know my sister, that's one of her favorite shows.
Oh, yeah. So that's Norm Lewis there. And then next to Norm, the gentleman to the left is Apollo Levine. He actually did a huge run of a show in China, you know, basically being the lead, but dancing and singing. And Michael to the right over there is on Broadway right now doing Aladdin. So a lot of the people that I'm around, even the woman next to Norm, Donna, she owns the dance company in Greensboro. She would kill me if I got that wrong, so please forgive me. But just beautiful people that I've been able to be around. And this was almost 10 years ago or so. But just very blessed. And that's just part of my theater life, because I I am doing it left and right to the point that I actually just did a one-woman show about a year or so ago on Nina Simone. And that
Oh,
experience
cool.
was, I can't even put that experience into words. I can just tell you that it was more than amazing. And if I can find a picture of it, I will certainly share it.
Okay.
I think I'm in the right folder now to be able to keep myself.
So if somebody said that you can't be a lawyer and a singer in theater and putting out your own CDs, and they tried to hold you back, you'd probably have to strongly disagree, wouldn't you?
I would. I'd have to. Yeah, I just disagree.
So if you didn't, okay, let's just suppose you didn't have the courage to try to do both, and like a lot of people, you did hold yourself back and say, well, maybe I really should just do my 9-to-5 job and just do the music, the singing in church or whatever. Do you think you would have been very unfulfilled, very unhappy, or do you think you would have missed it at all? Or is it so an important part of your life that you can't imagine not having pursued your musical career as well?
I think that it is a very important part of my life, and I can't imagine life otherwise. And I'll tell you, a lot of people who are not happy now are people who are living in what I call a death cycle. I think you're either living or you're not, right? You can call it an excellence cycle or a life cycle, or you can call it a death cycle. But a death cycle to the extent that you're not doing what's natural to you. You're working harder on things that you do not like, and the things that you are working very hard on, you're seeing no results. Because if you're doing what you're naturally supposed to do, and you're working very hard at it, and you're seeing results, maybe slow, but for sure you're seeing something, then you are living in a life cycle. You're living in a cycle to become a better you. And any other cycle, honestly, is you're dying quicker than you need to. I always tell people when I'm singing, live your life today. Don't wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. I've had too many people close to me to lose their lives still barely getting ready to think about dreaming. And why? We don't have that kind of time. No one knows when it's going to be over. And so what are we waiting for? What are you waiting for? And that's part of the challenge. You can't, we have to stop putting ourselves in a box. I mean, we live in a world where there's governance, and you have to respect that, right? There's authority. You have to respect that. But at the same time, you have to stop listening to people who, what I call doubters or naysayers. People who will tell you that your result should have been today, and because you don't have X by today, then you're not going to be successful tomorrow. Don't believe those people. That's the same people who told, black people back in the day that we would never be more than, a maid or a housekeeper or things to that effect. And look at us now. And, part of that is stop believing that. Do what is natural to you. It is possible for you to be of a different race and do things that only, another race is very popular for doing. It's possible. Anything is possible.
Now, when I watch children's television like Disney Channel, very often the young actors will say, follow your dreams and all that sort of thing, which is great because you're saying the same thing. But I'm going to tell you a story about the flip side. My granddad, Charles Harris, he was a musician. He got to accompany Roland Hayes so they could get the money for Mr. Hayes to go over to Europe and become famous. But my granddad wanted to be, I guess, when he saw the wonderful life that Mr. Hayes was leading as someone who was highly sought after as a musician and whatnot. My granddad, who was a college professor of music, he wanted a bit of that same life too. He was unsuccessful at it. He didn't really have what it takes, and he made fun of himself when he realized that he did. I think he made fun of himself in this way. He said he got on stage and was hollering the notes and would have been better off just sitting there reading the phone book to the crowd. So that was him realizing they didn't have the same skills that Mr. Hayes had. But at the end of the book, he admitted that he was happy that he tried. The goal that he had set for himself was a bit beyond his reach. He didn't have what it took for that goal. But he said you still have to try because you don't want to get old and then realize, looking back, well, I wonder if I would have made it. Because you don't always make it. But Granddad said you have to try. You have to
I think that's right. I think that's very right. And I think also you have to be realistic, right?
yeah.
There are certain things that, that's the thing about today's date, date and time where we have so many people who are making a lot of money, performing and singing, or what appears to be making a lot of money. They have a lot of fame. And a lot of people look and they see the fame and they say, I want to be like that. I want to wear, nice clothes and drive shiny cars and have these things. And so they put themselves in a situation where they think they can perform or do that to get those things. It's a lot of hard work. There's no question about it. To become a lawyer was a lot of hard work. To be a recording artist, from the point of thinking about what the song is going to be, going to the studio, recording it, putting it on the CD, getting it out to the people so that they can play it, continuing to go out and do whatever it takes marketing-wise or whatever for people to hear the music. All that's hard work. It's not overnight that any of that happens. And more importantly, to the point of the story you gave, you got to recognize early what is your gift. Because if your gift is not, I'll just use my example. If your gift is not cooking, don't go and try and do a cooking show, right? Maybe you have some kind of gift where you want to be in front of a camera, right? But it doesn't mean that you have a cooking show to be in front of the camera. I'm not saying I can't cook, but I'm saying I have people around me who are fantastic cooks, and I depend on them to help me out. And I'm okay with that. That's not my gift. I can't fry chicken the way my aunt can fry chicken. I just can't. I can't bake fish the way my husband can bake it. I can't. It's not that I won't, and it's not that I cannot learn, but I know that's not my gift. So if I spend my time, remember what I said before, working hard on my gift and honing it for it to be stronger, then I can be used properly to reach someone else, to allow them to connect to someone else, as opposed to trying to cook.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So before we go, I would like for you to let us know how to get your CDs. And also, wait a minute. Before we even talk
this is one big thing we have to talk about.
Yeah, you have a, what's it called, a Kickstarter?
I have a Kickstarter campaign. Yes, I do.
Tell us about it.
So what Kickstarter is it's a platform for people to create creative projects and allow for people to help fund those projects so that they can come to fruition. And I have a Kickstarter project online that is designed to help raise money for my next album, my third album. And I'm very excited about it because I have 20 days to go and I have $24,000 to raise. But I have the faith.
You already started the campaign.
I beg your pardon?
You've already started the campaign.
I have started my campaign. Would you like to see my campaign video?
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to show it during the...
Here, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, then we will stop.
Wait. Is there music on it? Because if there's music, we can't do it.
It is, but it's my music.
I know, but YouTube and Google Plus are super, super, super strict. I tried to, I had a guest on, Philip Doc Martin, the saxophone player, who, like you, has two careers. He's a dentist and a smooth jazz artist. Check that out.
See? There you have it, right there.
So he wanted me to play one of his songs, and I was playing one of his songs, and I got this big red banner, to stop playing the music or they're going to shut me down. And so I don't know if my guest saw my eyes get big at that time, but yeah.
Does it matter that this is not playing from YouTube?
No, it's just that they just don't allow. They allow only live performance.
Okay, so I won't take you to YouTube. I'll just show you the landing page. How about that?
Okay, you can do that. Okay.
So this that I'm going to show you is my YouTube page. Excuse me, I said the wrong words. This is my Kickstarter page. And
Awesome.
I purposely blocked out that so you don't see the video. But if you go here and click on back this project, then you can back my project and help me reach my goal. So you see I have 20 days to go. And I've raised so far, through the wonderful help of folks like you, $3,000.
Okay.
And go down to the page, you can read through and you'll see my history.
Ooh, nice.
And you'll see that as a part of donating, you can also get rewards. And those rewards can be, if you pledge $15, then you'll get a digital download of my music. If you pledge $26, you could get the actual signed CD when it comes out. But everything you would ever want to know about me, like I've opened for the Isley Brothers.
Whoa, for real?
Art Centers here. And you'll also see all the places that I've traveled. And places that I performed. I did a jazz cruise earlier this year. I put on television, and if you go again here to this site on Kickstarter and just type in my name, Yolanda Rabun, you will be able to see everything you probably ever wanted to know about me, and then some. And more importantly, you'll be able to support this next project that I'm working on. You know, one of the things I want to stress about the Kickstarter campaign, because it is all or nothing, we have to raise all the money or we get no money.
Okay.
Is a lot of people, you know, you heard me earlier talking about the fact that I'm a lawyer, think that because I am a lawyer, then why is it that I'm asking for $24,000? You know, why don't you just fund it yourself? You'll see, first of all, the budget for the money is to pay for the recording, all the licensing that's involved. You know, we talked about licensing earlier. Photography, the single to come out, but I want to share with the world that it is not, you know, necessarily the fact that I'm a lawyer or that you are a professional that makes things happen. It really is you. It's about the people. If the people like the music, the people will buy the music, the people will come and support it. And that any artist, no matter what station you are in life, should be able to, if you're putting out good music, depend on people to connect with so that you can make that music happen. My first 2 albums were independently produced by my husband and I, and we're still eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because of it.
I understand.
But you know, I have been performing live in the last year or so, and I've had people come to me and say, that song you just sung, that's what I want to buy, right? Or the way you interpreted that should be on an album. And it hasn't been. I work with an amazing group of musicians now, and, you know, I thought about it in my quiet moments and said, I don't know how this is going to happen, and what came to me is the people are going to make it happen. That's how it's going to happen. And so that's why I did this Kickstarter campaign.
I really think it's a wonderful way for artists to connect with their fan base, because after all, it's your fans that buy your music, right? So
that's exactly right. So if you go to my website at yolandarabun.com, you'll actually see information, and that's what's loading right now. Okay. About how to get. You can go here and just click right here, and it'll take you to the website where you just found. And again, my website address is yolandarabun.com.
Okay.
That music that you hear, I'm going to cut it off so we don't get you in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Hold on. Did I cut me off?
You're still there.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
So I turned it off, but you can see that I have, you know, again, done a lot of different things, and I have cool stuff coming up. I'm actually getting ready to perform at Blues Alley Jazz in Washington, D.C., which is like the #1 acclaimed jazz club. And I'll be working with Al Strong, as a matter of fact, at the top of the year, and singing some blues and jazz. And even next week, December, or in the week and a half, December 17th, I'll be doing some of my Christmas music at World Overcomers Church. So I think that's exciting here in Durham. That I'm still moving and shaking, still doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, but again, being led as opposed to demanding that this is my space and this is where I need to be.
Nice. I like how you're doing that. Now let's see your face again before we go, because
Yes.
you can switch back to your face. There you are.
Space that I work in, and it's very homely. When I come to do my music, I have to be at home, you know, and comfortable, and you know, be myself. That's why you don't see all the makeup on.
I got you. So you have this Kickstarter campaign, but have you written the songs yet, or have you chosen the songs yet for the CD, or are you still working on that?
I have had 2 production meetings so far, and there are some songs that have been written, and there are some songs, like I said, I've recorded, not recorded, but I performed live that are in heavy consideration for the final product. But we have our budget. That's how we came up with the amount, and we have a very good idea of our schedule. It is planned for the summer of 2015, so we're not going to take 20 years to go and do it. My Christmas time CD, believe it or not, was done in about 3 months. So I know that was I could have a show conversation with you alone about how Christmas came about, but it did. Okay. So I have been very blessed. I have my 3 CDs now so far. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah. And this 3rd one is really, it is, I think it is ordained to the extent that I'm looking for my fans to make it happen. And I actually believe that it can happen. So I'm looking forward to it. I got 20 days, and I mean, you know what? I dream big, and I shoot high. And the people who we have working on this project, or at least scheduled to work on it, we think Grammy. We think big. So wouldn't it be cool?
Might as well, right?
Yeah. Look, if you're gonna think about it. It costs you $1. You can pledge as little as $1 and be a part of this journey that I'm on. And when we do get that accolade, you can say that you were a producer of a Grammy.
I helped with that CD. Yeah.
Say that again? Yes, exactly.
I helped with the CD, you know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That is wonderful. So, Yolanda Rabun, thank you so much for being on TV Skywriter. Now, folks, you know to go to yolandarabun.com, learn about her music, order the CDs, list. Are you on YouTube also? Do you have videos?
I am on YouTube as well.
Awesome.
You can find me there, and you can see all of my videos. So Real has a video as well as Hold On to Your Dreams. So there are 2 official videos that I have recorded that are out there and available, and they have been doing very well. I'm on Vivo, on YouTube. Been played on several videos, television programs. You know, again, I've been very blessed. I've traveled around the world performing, not only with you know, the groups that I performed with before, but also you know, again, with my own music through radio airplay. I've been to Catalina Jazz in California. As you see, you know, Blues Alley in D.C. I've been to Atlanta, Sweet Georgia Juke Joint, and the Velvet Room. I mean, God has been good. There's no question about it. And I'm living my life on purpose. You know, and God, He brings me amazing angels. So I'm not doing this by myself. I have a wonderful family, my mom, my husband, my kids, really dear friends, and people who just speak positive words. You know, that's why I say be kind to folks. Say hello, because sometimes your word is what that person needs. I had someone to send me a note yesterday, and they just don't know how powerful their words were. 1 or 2, 3 words, and it's all I needed. It was almost like a spark to make me move and do whatever it was I was in the moment of not doing, or thinking about doing differently. So we are here to help each other connect to our greatness. We are here to help each other connect to our next. And we just have to be sure that we understand that and stay true to, you know, the gifts that we've been given and the purpose we should be living.
Wonderful. And with that, I want to bid you good evening, and thanks for being on the show, Yolanda. That was really wonderful.
Thank you, Pat, for having me. Had a great time.
No problem at all. So if you would like to be on TV Skywriter, if you like Miss Raven, if you're like a wonderful singer or entrepreneur, writer, I talk to a lot of authors, entrepreneur, whatever, just not give me a call. Write to me at durhamskywriter@gmail.com. You can read Durham Skywriter. That is something that you might not have heard of before. That is an all positive community newspaper. You can read that at durhamskywriter.com. My radio show is on WNCU on Sundays. And with that, I bid you good evening. Have a great, follow your dreams. Think of great plans. Think big.
Yes.
Aim high. Right? Am I right?
That's right.
So with that,
you got it. Dream big. Hold on to those dreams. Hold on. Hold on. What do we do? Hold on.
There you go. And with that, have a great evening. I'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.